You keep choosing people who drain you. You keep loving people who break you. And no matter how hard you try, you can't escape that cycle. But what if the real reason isn't psychological? What if it's spiritual and has been shaping your relationships long before you realized it? Have you ever felt an invisible pull dragging you toward people who chip away at your spirit, who drain your peace, who hurt you even when you give them your best? Have you ever noticed how the pattern repeats itself, as if your life were stuck on a spiritual loop? New faces, same emptiness, same emotional bruises, same sense of, I've been here before? This isn't an accident. This isn't your fault. And it is definitely not a sign that you are unlovable. What you're experiencing is a spiritual pattern, a coded message woven deep into your journey, a message trying to reach you through the very relationships that break you. Because when you finally decode it, the cycle ends. Your standards rise. Your intuition sharpens. Your spirit steps into a different frequency. And suddenly, the people who once had access to you no longer recognize the person you've become. Today, you are going to uncover why your soul keeps attracting toxic relationships, and the hidden spiritual purpose behind every heavy connection you've endured. Once this truth enters your awareness, you will never look at your past the same way again. You will understand why certain people were drawn to your light, and why their departure was necessary for your destiny. And before we go any deeper, if this message is already touching something inside you, give this video a like so it reaches more chosen ones, subscribe if you haven't yet, and comment 99 below. Because 99 symbolizes the moment a spiritual cycle ends and a new chapter of alignment begins. There are moments in your life when you swear you're being careful, when you promise yourself you'll never fall for the same type of person again. And yet, the same personality, the same behavior, the same emotional poison finds its way to you as if it were guided by a map only toxic people can read. What most chosen ones never realize is that your spirit speaks long before your mouth does. Your energy announces your fears. Your silence reveals your longing, your unresolved wounds. They glow in the spiritual realm like unprotected doorways. And the people who thrive on chaos, control, or emotional feeding, those people sense it instantly, even if they don't understand how. They aren't drawn to your appearance or your kindness alone. They're drawn to the fracture lines in your heart that haven't healed yet. Not because you are weak, but because your soul has endured more than most. And deep inside those fractures is something they crave: your empathy, your patience, your ability to feel deeply even when others would shut down. Toxic individuals don't consciously think, I found someone wounded, but spiritually, they gravitate toward the spaces where your boundaries are still soft, where your self-worth still trembles, where your old heartbreaks still echo. And this is why patterns repeat. It's not because you're choosing wrong, it's because your energy is still broadcasting a frequency shaped by old pain. A frequency that says, I will overgive, I will understand, I will forgive, I will carry the weight. A frequency that compassionate souls emit without even noticing. And until that energy shifts, the universe will keep allowing similar personalities to appear, not to torture you, but to show you exactly where your spirit is still bleeding. The cycle isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every person who arrives with the same destructive traits is delivering a message your soul has been trying to send you for years. This part of you still needs attention, this wound still needs light, this door still needs to be closed. And here is the twist most people never see coming. The moment you start healing those inner fractures, the invitations stop. The toxic ones can no longer find you. The patterns break. The cycle dissolves. Your spirit shifts into a frequency that no longer matches their chaos. They lose access without you even trying. But before that transformation arrives, there is something even more important your soul wants to reveal. Because the cycle isn't just emotional, it's ancestral. And what comes next will make you see your entire past from a completely different angle. There are wounds you carry that were never created by your hands. Shadows that cling to your relationships even though they were born long before you took your first breath. Many of the toxic connections you keep attracting are not simply emotional accidents. They are spiritual inheritances, patterns passed down through your bloodline like a silent imprint, a coded cycle waiting for someone strong enough to break it. And that someone is you. You've probably noticed that relationships feel heavier for you than for the people around you. What others brush off, you feel in your bones. What others ignore, you carry as if the universe placed the entire weight of the lesson on your shoulders. That depth is not a curse, it's evidence. Proof that your spirit was chosen to confront what your ancestors could not. You're not just healing your own heart, You're standing at the end of a long lineage where pain, silence, abandonment, or betrayal have been repeating themselves for decades. Toxic relationships come into your life not to punish you, but to expose what previous generations couldn't face. They reveal the patterns that your family normalized: staying quiet, enduring mistreatment, loving people who take more than they give, accepting chaos as if it were affection. You inherited these emotional blueprints without ever being asked. And because you see life differently, because you feel more deeply, because you question more boldly, because your intuition is louder than the expectations around you, you're the one who notices the cycle instead of obeying it. Toxic people enter your path like mirrors of your ancestry, reflecting the unresolved wounds that still run through your family line. The abandonment someone else ignored, the silence someone else swallowed, the pain someone else accepted in the name of loyalty or survival. But you're not wired to tolerate what they tolerated. When a toxic person enters your life, something in you rises up. Anger, clarity, intuition, a sudden refusal to repeat what you once accepted. That inner resistance is the spiritual signal that you've been chosen to end the pattern. And this is why your heartbreaks feel so intense. You're not just crying for yourself. You're crying for every voice in your lineage that never had the courage or freedom to speak. You're not just healing your pain. You're healing the emotional DNA of your entire bloodline. You are the interruption, the rewrite, the spiritual firewall. And here's the revelation that most people will never understand. Once a generational cycle begins to break, the universe increases the pressure. More tests, more clarity, more exposure. Not to overwhelm you, but to make sure you see the full picture before you ascend to the next level of your spiritual evolution. And as the pressure increases, something else begins to surface. Another truth hidden beneath the pattern, one that explains why you love so fiercely, why you forgive so easily, and why your presence naturally transforms the people who enter your life. Because breaking a generational cycle is only the first part of your mission. What comes next reveals the true assignment of your heart. There is a reason your presence changes the atmosphere the moment you walk into a room. There is a reason people confess things to you they've never told anyone. There is a reason broken souls gravitate toward you as if your spirit were a sanctuary they've spent their whole lives searching for. Your compassion is not accidental. Your empathy is not random. Your softness, your intuition, your ability to feel what others cannot. These are spiritual signatures, marks of a healer, signs of someone whose heart was crafted with a divine purpose. But here is the part most chosen ones never realize until it nearly destroys them. The very qualities that make you powerful also make you a target. Your light does not just illuminate, it attracts. And not everyone drawn to your warmth comes with good intentions. Some come because your spirit feels like medicine. Some come because your presence feels like relief. Some come because your love feels like a second chance. And others come because they sense, even subconsciously, that your energy can stabilize the chaos inside them. Toxic people don't seek out other toxic people. They seek out healers. They seek out the ones who listen without judgment, the ones who give without being asked, the ones who love with depth, the ones who can hold the emotional weight they refuse to carry for themselves. Your heart has a healing assignment, but that assignment is not to be a lifeline for someone who is drowning by choice. You were never meant to bleed so others can breathe. You were never meant to shrink so others can feel comfortable. You were never meant to become the emotional charger for someone who refuses to power their own soul. One of the most painful spiritual lessons is realizing that not everyone you feel called to help is meant to stay in your life. Some people enter your world because you're the only light they've ever felt, yet they have no intention of honoring the hand that lifts them. They take your kindness as supply. They take your patience as permission. They take your forgiveness as an endless resource. And before you realize it, you're pouring your spirit into someone whose only contribution is more emptiness. That's when the universe intervenes. That's when patterns intensify. That's when relationships become heavier, more draining, more chaotic. Not because you're failing, but because you're being shown the difference between your mission and your burden. Your soul came here to elevate, not to enable, to guide, not to rescue, to heal, not to surrender yourself as a sacrifice. The moment you recognize that difference, everything shifts. You stop confusing love with labor. You stop mistaking loyalty for spiritual imprisonment. You stop accepting emotional wounds as part of the process, and something remarkable begins to happen. Your energy recalibrates, your boundaries strengthen, your intuition grows sharper than ever before. And as you rise into this new awareness, you begin to notice something else, another layer, deeper and more mysterious. Because the universe does not just send you toxic connections to test your heart. It sends them to reflect something hidden inside you. Something that will only become clear when the mirror finally turns in your direction. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when you stop asking, "Why did this person hurt me?" And you begin asking, "What is this trying to show me?" Because whether you realize it or not, the universe has been placing mirrors in your path. Living, breathing mirrors disguised as relationships, friendships, opportunities, and heartbreaks. Not to torment you, not to punish you, but to reveal parts of your spirit you would never confront on your own. Every toxic relationship is a reflection, a spiritual X-ray exposing layers of yourself that have been hidden beneath survival, routine, denial, or silence. These mirrors don't show you who you are, they show you the parts of you that need light, boundaries, truth, or healing. And the universe uses toxic people because they activate the deepest emotional responses. They trigger wounds you thought were gone. They push buttons you didn't know existed. They expose fears you've been avoiding for years. They reveal where your worth is fragile. They illuminate where your tolerance has been misused. They highlight the exact places where your spirit has been whispering for help. A mirror doesn't lie, and neither do these lessons. When someone disrespects you, the universe is showing you where your boundaries are too soft. When someone manipulates you, the universe is revealing where you still believe you must earn love. When someone abandons you, the universe is exposing the fear of being alone that keeps you holding on to the wrong people. When someone drains you, the universe is proving that you've been pouring from an empty cup for far too long. These reflections don't appear to break you. They appear to awaken you. They show you the difference between what you're accepting and what your spirit actually deserves. They force you to confront truths you've been avoiding, the habits you inherited, the insecurities you justify, the trauma you normalize, the self-worth you quietly negotiate. And here is the twist most people never realize. Mirrors only appear when you're ready to see the truth. You don't attract a manipulator unless you're ready to see where you've been silencing your intuition. You don't attract an emotionally unavailable person unless you're ready to understand your own fear of vulnerability. You don't attract someone who takes you for granted unless you're ready to acknowledge the places where you've been undervaluing yourself. Every reflection has a purpose, and once the lesson is learned, the mirror disappears. Suddenly, what once attracted you no longer excites you. What once felt familiar now feels unacceptable. What once confused you now feels painfully obvious. That is spiritual evolution. That is self-recognition. And that is the moment the universe stops sending you reflections and starts sending you alignment. But before that shift arrives, there is one final revelation, one final truth about why these toxic connections come into your life. And this truth will change the way you see your relationships forever. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when the universe stops allowing certain people near you. Not because you've done something wrong, but because you are evolving faster than the relationships you once tolerated. And when that evolution begins, the removal becomes violent, sudden, unexpected. It feels like your heart is being ripped from your chest. But spiritually, something much bigger is happening. You are being redirected. Every toxic partner who leaves your life, every connection that collapses without warning, every relationship that ends in chaos is not a sign of abandonment. It's a sign of alignment. The universe is not taking people from you. It is taking people out of your way. Because as your spirit rises, as your intuition sharpens, as your self-worth expands, the kind of energy you are meant to partner with begins to shift. You are no longer compatible with chaos. You are no longer attracted to emotional starvation. You are no longer designed to live in survival mode. Your soul is outgrowing the patterns that once felt like home. And toxic people, who thrive in confusion, instability, and emotional games, can sense that shift. Your spirit becomes too clear for their manipulation to work. Your energy becomes too steady for their chaos to dominate. Your boundaries become too strong for their excuses to slip through. Suddenly, they can no longer access the version of you that tolerated their dysfunction. This is why their exit feels dramatic, explosive, even cruel. They don't leave quietly because they can feel the door closing, and they know it won't open again. But the pain of their departure is not the end. It is the clearing, a spiritual decluttering. You are being prepared for a connection that doesn't drain you, but elevates you. A love that doesn't confuse you, but grounds you. A partner who doesn't take from your spirit, but matches it. A bond aligned with your purpose rather than your wounds. This redirection is not random, it is precise, deliberate, divine. You may not see it yet, but every toxic goodbye is pushing you closer to someone who can walk with you at your highest level. Someone who recognizes your worth without needing to be taught. Someone whose presence brings peace instead of questions. Someone whose soul speaks the same language as yours. And here is the revelation most people never realize. Your true spiritual match cannot enter while you are still entertaining the patterns that break you. The universe will block that connection until the old cycle dies completely. It will not allow you to miss the person meant for you. But it also won't allow you to bring harmful energy into your next chapter. That is why the shaking happens. That is why the exposure intensifies. That is why the wrong ones are removed with force. Their chaos is not a sign that you're losing control. It's the proof that your elevation already started. And as the dust settles, something powerful begins to rise. Because the moment you finally release what was never meant for your spirit, the path clears for what is. And what comes next will make every heartbreak make sense. Now you stand at the edge of a truth your soul has been trying to whisper to you for years. And you can finally hear it clearly. You were never cursed. You were never unworthy. You were never bad at love. You were being prepared, shaped by fire, sharpened by pain, elevated through every heartbreak that felt like it was tearing you apart. Nothing you lived was wasted. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Every wound carried a message your spirit needed to receive. Every betrayal revealed a part of you that deserved more. Every disappointment redirected your steps towards something greater. Every toxic person was a spiritual alarm clock, shaking you awake, forcing you to see your worth, your strength, your limits, your calling. They did not ruin you. They revealed you. And now you finally understand. This is your turning point. This is the moment your spirit upgrades its standards. This is where the old cycle dies and the new you rises, clearer, wiser, stronger, untouchable by the same patterns that once consumed you. From today forward, the cycle ends with you. The emotional inheritance stops here. The generational wounds stop here. The self-betrayal stops here. You are stepping into a season where your boundaries are sacred, your intuition is undeniable, and your heart beats in alignment with your purpose. A season where you no longer apologize for your depth. A season where you no longer shrink for anyone. A season where your energy no longer tolerates chaos disguised as love. And now, something powerful begins to shift around you. Because the universe cannot deliver aligned love to someone still holding on to misaligned people. The moment you release what broke you, you make space for what will build you. The moment you walk away from what diminishes your spirit, you create room for what honors it. The love that matches your energy is already on its way to you. Quietly, steadily, divinely orchestrated. A love that doesn't drain you. A love that doesn't confuse you. A love that doesn't wound you. A love that recognizes your light and protects it, not consumes it. And now, if your soul is vibrating right now, if something inside you is saying, "This is for me," then seal this moment spiritually. Comment, "I break the cycle" below, and declare to the universe that you refuse to repeat what hurt you. Say it with intention. Say it with power. Say it as a spiritual contract. Because after today, you are not attracting toxic people anymore. You are attracting your destiny. You are attracting peace. You are attracting alignment. You are attracting the love your spirit was always meant for. And nothing, absolutely nothing, will pull you back into the old story again.